Alright, what's up guys, Single Player Nacho here, and I hope you're not afraid of ghosts, because these are 10 haunted levels in Resident Evil. Now all of these entries are pretty scary on their own, but are singled out because there's a certain sound or two. Something just doesn't feel right, something's off. And of course, most of the time it's because there are vicious, cannibalistic beasts around the corner. These areas have random sounds, ambience, or haunting imagery attached to them. So without further ado, let's get to it. Resident Evil Remake, The Forest. The ARKLAY forest is home to numerous deaths. In the remake, the astounding atmosphere surrounding the forest would make anyone believe that it is definitely haunted. The fog, the dead tree formations, and just take a listen to the ambience. Not a place you'd want to go alone. The forest also houses Lisa Trevor's cabin, who has claimed the lives and faces of many victims. In the cabin, clothing articles such as boots can be found. Outside the cabin, you'll be stopped dead in your tracks when you hear this. Turn a couple of corners, and you'll find the source of that ghoulish sound, a zombie staring into the abyss. Is it trying to remember its life pre-infection, or how it was eaten in the first place? Regardless, always kill the zombies. Always. In harder difficulties, the crypt near the forest gets two disgustingly decrepit zombies. These just happen to be even more terrifying than the usual ones. This was the point where my 10-year-old self officially stopped playing for good. This is where you'll also encounter a sacred hidden sanctuary, only it's completely terrifying. The imagery alone is haunting. Statues of faces with missing features, a hanging coffin, no thanks. Even the signposts are chilling. Look at these directions, and tell me you wouldn't want to run away instantly. Resident Evil 7, The Old House. You won't be prepared for the things you'll find in the old house in Resident Evil 7. The entry alone features destroyed baby dolls scattered throughout. It just screams witchcraft. In fact, the old house was built in 1802, and there is nothing scarier than things from that era. Take a look around and it really looks like they haven't repaired the house since 1802. This building is without a doubt the most haunted or paranormal setting in the series. Striking piano chords is a surefire sign of that. The more something is hidden, the worse it gets. Behind this well boarded up door is an entire section of the old house that is embalmed in spooky stuff. Things randomly fall from the ceiling, doors and closets shut on their own, a drawer filled with shoes. And take a look at this teddy bear. Looks normal at first. I questioned who or what was kept in the old house, as it seems to be a giant abandoned orphanage. Dig deeper, and you'll find Dolores, a molded BOW who, well, you're gonna need her arm to continue the game. Nothing is more ghostly than a creepy child standing behind you, and then proceeds to run away. That's Evelyn, who's behind all of these apparitions and jump scares. Well, most of them, at least. Resident Evil Village Shadows of Rose, Dollhouse. What could you possibly add to make Donna Beneviento's estate even more haunted? Well, giant monkeys, for one. Revisiting this level isn't exactly less scary, as there are numerous scary additions to it. Some of the most demented, horrible imagery can be found down here, as well as random bumps in the night that will catch you off guard. Nothing, I repeat, nothing, beats the mannequins in the dollhouse as the most paranormal-like entities in Resident Evil Village. It's one thing that they chase after you, but once you're captured, you're transferred into another dimension of torture and pain. 0 out of 10 would recommend. Resident Evil Code Veronica, Rockfort Island. Honestly, all of Code Veronica is a big spooky ghost story. Even the intro features a lighter scene, which is in every single horror movie. Rockfort Island, the game's primary location, is overflowing with prisoners, or at least was overflowing with prisoners. Sadistic games and experiments turned them into vicious zombies, and fragments of this insanely disturbing sight are seen throughout. The graveyard features disgusting naked zombies. Cover it up, fellas. In fact, play dead. There are references to antique torture techniques. Prisoners were forced into these painful machines, and the bloodstains on the walls are still very fresh. This place is even home to that maniacal doctor who literally awakens from a body bag. I mean, what can be even more ghoul-like? Doesn't help that they made this twerp 10 times faster than the average zombie. It's genuinely scary stuff. From guillotines to traps, there's nothing this island doesn't have, and the haunting thought of being able to see its victims in the flesh is pretty unnerving. Resident Evil 2 Remake, Orphanage. An orphanage in a Resident Evil game is just sad. You quickly understand that there's something deeply, deeply wrong in this building. Within the diaries of the children left behind, acid or viruses were administered to the orphans with sickening side effects. Undoubtedly, the sad little spirits of the murdered orphans roam this orphanage, and the big cannibalistic elephant in the room, aka Brian Irons, is still operating in this location. Perhaps I'm seeing things or it's poor rendering, but an optical illusion seems to take place in one of the photographs. A smiling, scary-looking figure appears as you zoom out, but as you approach closer to the picture, it's just a photograph of a child angel. Maybe just me, you be the judge. It doesn't help that just behind the photograph, a deeply disturbed Brian Irons is mixing and mastering on a corpse. And there very much is a corpse found in the orphanage, a fresh kill. Surrounding the corpse are nauseating items, such as ritualistic masks and helmets. Couple all of that with these toys and drawings, and the orphanage may just be haunted after all. Resident Evil 0, Research Facility. Speaking of unsettling photographs, there is one giant reason why you may remember the research facility in Resident Evil 0. And that is this giant portrait of the game's antagonist, James Marcus. There is something profoundly disturbing when you look at this thing. From Marcus's pose, grim demeanor, and its eyes are just a little too lifelike. Worse yet, this freaking thing is smack dab in the middle of the facility, so if you ever feel like the eyes of a portrait are following you, this may be the closest thing to that phenomenon in the RE series. Now, I'd say this portrait is definitely haunted, but James Marcus is technically alive at this point, at least in the flesh. It doesn't help that the research facility is clad with items with demonic references to Satan, the afterlife, and other paranormal entities. James Marcus, when he was originally alive, was one sick puppy, so all these scary items aren't surprising. Even the introductory dialogue hints at some exterior maleficent force at work here, like something's watching and following you. At least you don't have to explore the facility alone, as you have a perfectly capable duo of fighting off any ghosts that may come your way. Resident Evil Revelations 2, Facility. The title sequence to Resident Evil Revelations 2 is a surefire sign that you're going to be seeing some shit. And for an introduction stage, the facility comes out with quite the bang. The game's main virus is centered around fear, making people lose their sanity and their marbles, and they'll just go insane. The environment is a complete and total mess. Blood spatter in the ceiling and the floor, and of course, ancient torture devices. The enemies found in the facility are the closest to evil spirits that we'll get in a Resident Evil game. They have been badly tortured, and it shows in their anatomy and design. You gotta wonder just how much evil and fear was created in this place. Resident Evil 5 DLC, Spencer Estate. The Lost in Nightmares DLC features a field trip to the Spencer Estate, which does not sound like a tempting traveling destination at all. Upon your arrival, you are greeted with a corpse that drops seemingly out of nowhere. In fact, the place is riddled with the remains of Oswald Spencer's henchmen. with no explanation as to what happened to them. The place is also riddled with portraits of Oswald himself, which is dark and ominous, until you find more than just one of these hideous portraits. They are scattered all over the place. This location also features unexplained ambient noises and sounds that will make you jump. Worse yet is what's found underneath the estate. Hanging bodies, decomposing corpses, and if you listen very closely, a faint creature can be heard. There's no telling what happened here besides the fact that a special kind of evil is responsible, and all that is left are the damned spirits of the victims. Jill even scared the shit out of me down here. I mean, who knows? She could be a ghost for all I know. Resident Evil 1 Underground Lab. Welcome to the end of the line. For all the classic, iconic locations in the Spencer Mansion, this is where it all ends, the Underground Lab. Now this spot goes to both entries, the remake and the original. In the original, I can't imagine how terrified players were when they encountered the naked zombies. I mean, their depleted appearance make them seem more like ghouls or ghosts. In the remake, the lab looks to be in even more disarray. It contains this examination room that has a hangar filled with body bags, a stark reminder that this is where the origins of the T-Virus began. In short, Patient Zero was created here, making this a very haunted location indeed. Resident Evil Outbreak, Apple Inn Hotel. The Apple Inn Hotel is perfectly placed inside the mission known as Hellfire, and it's all due to the insane atrocities committed in this place. The surrounding area seems actually kind of peaceful. Still, the emptiness in the first two floors is enough to make your bones tingle. You'll come across the lifeless bodies of firemen who were probably simply responding to their usual emergency. But the Apple Inn Hotel was much more than they could chew. That, and the deafening sound of a liquor that you can't see, will put you in danger mode. Parts of the hotel are still on fire, and the fire strangely doesn't seem to stop. Add the strange ambient sounds, and it's just purely off-putting. But the worst is yet to come. Climb onto a ledge, and as you continue, a poor woman who is engulfed in flames bangs away at the window. Due to the fire, it's pretty hard to tell, at first sight, whether the woman is a zombie or, unfortunately, still human. This grim image is a reminder of just how hellish indeed this level is. Well, thank you so much for checking out this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Which level did you think was the most haunted? Have you found any other levels that you were 100% certain are haunted? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more horror lore, lists, and mysteries. Have an awesome rest of your day. And as always, stay single.